Welcome back to the table. Oh my gosh, I'm excited about this conversation.
Me too.
So if you missed last week's episode,
go back and watch it.
Yeah, basically. You're going to be caught up if you do.
Yes.
Like you want to be in this
binge watch.
Yeah, that means I would have to release everything at once.
Well, no, this one would already be gone.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Oh, I see.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Binge watch.
Get with it.
Okay, Siri.
Now you really have to go back and watch for the context.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we are talking about childhood dreams.
Yes.
And current realities.
Right.
And we are talking about this through the lens of how our worldview was created whenever we were little. That winning formula that we innately kind of created with the Lord or without the Lord. And how does that play out into today's reality? Like, what does it really look like to say, when I was little, I wanted to be this, but yet let's fast forward years. And Twix commercial, years, and this is what I'm doing today. And so last week you shared your testimony with us, and I love that we have two different perspectives and two different stories, because man, that is life in general.
Right.
Like, people just all come from all walks of life. And because you and I came from ministry, even within ministry, we were brought up differently.
Different.
Yeah. So Cindy, give them a recap.
Well, just as a very small child at 3 years old, I was in a church service and a group came to sing, and I experienced something that was just really pure and precious and amazing. And I looked at my dad, who was sitting next to me, and I told him, I want to do that. And I really literally have spent my entire life doing that in one form or another.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
And I have a lot more years. Lots and lots.
I am
decades.
We're young.
Yes. Yes, we are.
So I was finished last episode as well, kind of letting you guys know a little bit about me, that I'm like empty nester. And it's a whole new world.
Right.
There's a song. I'm not going to sing it.
Yeah. Me either.
Hey, cue Cindy.
Right.
Okay. There's a song. It's a whole new world.
Yes. You can sing, Natalie.
Okay. You're going to laugh when I tell you what I wanted to be when I was little.
Okay.
But I'm like stepping into this new adventure called empty nest. Have you ever experienced it? It's terrifying.
I can't wait.
I'm giving you hope. I want to offer you hope. I'm here to inspire, encourage, and uplift you. It's terrifying. And listen, I have an amazing marriage.
Yeah.
Like, I've been married for 25 years, and I'm not going anywhere. And he ain't going anywhere.
Right.
I'm like, you don't want to, I'll come find you, chase you down and drag you back. But I'm like, this feeling of everything being removed from me, of the daily tasks, the daily to-dos. And we touched on this a little bit the last episode, just about the difference between assignment and this, like, what you're doing in the present and who he's called you to, versus really who he's created you to be. So our assignments can change. And so
the doing rather than the being.
Yes. Okay, so I'm standing outside of the gym a few months ago, and I'm actually talking to another friend of mine. My husband and I were coming out, and he was going in, and he was explaining to me kind of where he was in life, and this elusive question of, what do I want to be when I grow up? He didn't say it that way, but that was the gist of the conversation. And he's kind of talking us through his testimony, and he kind of threw out this statement, which is really where I began to unpack. And the statement was, well, when I was young, I always assumed I would do this or be this, but, and then he went on with everything. And in that moment, the Holy Spirit was like, you ever had that happen where he's like,
time freezes and your mind starts working.
Yes. Yeah. He's like, listen up. He's like, what did you want to be when you were little? And I probably wasn't great in the conversation after that because I'm like, I just had a moment, just 1 second, thank you. And I start this processing with the Lord for several weeks. And I had to really sit and I asked him, what did I want to be when I was little? And 2 things popped in my mind. I remember them like they were yesterday. One was, do you remember the Fisher-Price recorders?
Yes.
They were bulky,
Yep.
had a handle,
Yes.
colorful, with the spiral cord with the microphone.
Yes.
Now, most people played tapes and they would sing. Not me. Girl, I was probably 3 or 4, and I put a tape in there and I recorded my own voice.
I love it.
I
You were
had-
doing podcasts at...
I had something to say.
You had something to say.
I wish that I had those tapes.
I had nothing to say. I was going to sing what other people had to say.
But then you have things to say.
Yes.
You grew into things.
Very quickly.
Yeah, it's amazing. I just came out of the womb. Like, you should hear me.
What I have to say.
I have something to say.
Get it.
Most people are like, shh. I'm like, I'm not done saying the things.
That's awesome.
So I did that. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So it was interesting that it wasn't a desire. It was just what I did.
What you did.
But my desire was, are you ready for this?
Yes.
Dolphin trainer.
Okay.
Wetsuit.
That's awesome. Okay.
SeaWorld. Dolphins, you know.
All the things. Yes.
I thought that would be a dream come true for me if I could one day be a dolphin trainer. So when I thought through these things, I thought, well, what does dolphin training have anything to do with anything? Like, I mean, should I go back to school? You know, I could be years old and in a wetsuit.
Right?
Just like, no. But I was talking with a friend of mine about this, and she said, well, you know what dolphins represent? Like, if you were to like look into dreams or, you know, kind of meanings behind this particular species of animals. And she was like, it's like the dreams and desires. It's the future.
Wow.
I was like, what in the world? And so it brought color to something that I wanted to be when I was in elementary school. And now I'm like, now today, so let's fast forward. I am here with you.
Right.
It's amazing.
Awakening the dreams in people.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Should I do dolphin sounds?
No, I already did it and that was enough. I probably should not have done that, but yes.
But I think like this is something that it was such revelation for me because I was able to look at the heart of what I was dreaming.
Right.
Instead of what I was doing.
Right.
I've had the wrong perspective of the Fisher-Price microphone and the dolphin training. I mean, I put dolphin training to the side. Let me just be real. I mean, you know, when I was probably in junior high, I thought, I live in Arkansas.
Probably not very many dolphins.
I hadn't seen dolphins recently.
I'll have to travel to do that.
I'm gonna have to do something different than what I'm doing now. So I laid that aside. But I like look at my history. So this is interesting. Okay, so this is what I would love to know from you.
Okay.
I'll tell you mine. I'll tell you me. You tell me.
Okay.
So I took this innate desire to lead, to have a voice, and to encourage. And it was, now I can say this. In the process, I couldn't. But now when I look back, I'm like, oh gosh, everything I've done in my life has been to say, let me put you, your organization, your gifts on display to show the world how beautifully colorful you actually are.
Wow.
And so whether it was working in a church, as a pastor in a church, leading ministries, creating ministries, it was all in this vein of making sure the other person or organization became fully alive in what their purposes were. And I was really good at that, really bad at my own. So it slipped into this like, well, if I make you look good enough, then, and you successful enough, then maybe you'll turn around and look at me and I'll be successful. So it's like this heartfelt, pure thing that turned into something that was just performance-based and yucky. And I had to, and so then I just gave up. I'm like, I quit ministry. I quit like trying to be the person that God created me to be. Like I had an I quit moment. And he really had to bring me back around from that. Yeah. And I've had a few I quit moments in my life. And if I look back on those moments, I quit not because of God saying he's pleased with me and me knowing that. It was because I was tired of performing for someone else's accolades.
Well, I would just like to say, just put a spin on that, where it's not really an I quit moment, but an I surrender moment. Yeah. Because very often when we do get caught in those performance kind of mindsets, you have to quit.
Yeah.
In order for the Lord to be able to show up. And when you quit, you're surrendering. And you're saying, Lord, I trust you to give me some direction in this area. I trust you to reveal your plan to me so I can walk that out.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't look at those moments as a failure moment. That was really where you begin to win because you surrender. Yeah. And you're just like, very often you have to come to the end of yourself in order to find the beginning of the journey.
Yeah.
You know, what God's got for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everybody has those moments in their journey where they have to just pull back. Yeah. Everyone has them.
Yeah.
If they've ever achieved anything in life,
100%.
they've had that moment where they've said, okay.
Yeah. Or you're just living in a continual moment and you just need to surrender.
Right. It's a surrender moment. Because we can't do it in ourselves only. God takes what we have and uses it.
Yeah.
But if we're relying on our own power and our own gift and our own strength, then it's works without any life to it.
Yes. You know? It's the doing without the being. Right. I wonder when you look at when I think about the dreams as a child versus the current reality, how have you seen, I know with your story, you're like, this is what I want to do and be, and this is, I'm going to say yes all along the way. Yeah. But you say something that I love, and I've actually told other people, I'm like, this is what Cindy says.
All right. I can't wait to hear what I said.
Get ready. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. That you just say yes to the next thing.
Yeah.
So, and I want you to know, I have taken that, because you said that to me over the phone a while back, and even with this here today, and with whatever comes up next in my life, it's like I'm just going to say yes to this thing.
Yeah.
And what is that?
Well, saying yes to the next thing, that's always connected to your now thing. So when you're fully surrendered, you and I are believers. Yeah. When you're fully surrendered to the Lord in your life, I mean, I've been through some very challenging seasons in life. I went through an unwanted, horrible divorce. And in that season, every morning I would get up and I would say, Lord, I'm listening to whatever your spirit says to my spirit. I love how Pastor Joel, my pastor, Joel Osteen, says it wasn't like in this big, booming, out loud voice. It was just deep down in here.
Yes.
I would hear the Lord whisper something to me, and I would say yes. And I would obey for that day.
Yes.
Because the next day is going to be different, a whole different set of circumstances, a whole different set of issues, challenges. And so I would get up and I would say, Lord, whatever you're going to say to me, I'm listening. Yeah. And I will do that. And when he spoke to me, he didn't speak every day.
Yeah.
But when he did speak, I would say yes.
Yes.
And that led me to the next thing.
Yes.
And I think so often we just get so wrapped up in what things look like and what people say and what our own expectations are that we forget to live in this now moment. Because you cannot get to the next if you don't do the now right.
Yeah. And
not right in every decision has to be right, but fully surrendered is what's right.
Yes. Yeah, and letting him guide you. When we were talking in our last episode about, we had the would you rather, and it was, the question to me was, would I rather put a pause or fast forward? I said rewind because now remember I was 18, so I'm gonna give myself some slack, but I didn't live present.
Yeah.
I did not live with this mindset of pulling up to the table with the Lord every day and saying, what's today?
Yeah.
Just today.
Yeah.
Because I know that your word says that there's going to be enough worries tomorrow.
Right.
Don't worry about tomorrow.
Yeah. It may never come.
It may never come.
That's what the word says. Yeah.
Yes. And if we miss the moment today and miss an opportunity today and miss being present today, we miss out on joy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I had a friend that told me, this was just after we had, our twins are adopted.
Okay.
I know you know that.
Yes.
But we had just adopted our twins, and he was a coworker, and he said, I had someone give me some really good advice. And I said, what's that? He said, never wish away your current season with your kids. And very often when you have multiple children all at once and they're young, it's just survival.
Oh,
It's midnight feedings and,
double diapers,
all of that.
All the things,
things. And, but that just voice, I heard that so many times in my life when I would feel exhausted at the end of the day. And then you have to be a wife.
Yes.
After you've been a mother to multiple small children.
Yes.
And I would just be exhausted, and I would hear that voice of my friend saying, don't wish this away.
Yeah.
Because these are the good old days.
Yes.
And you look back and you go, oh my gosh, I don't even remember that season. And I have many, there are parts of my life that I don't remember during that season, because you're just, you're holding on by your teeth and your fingernails.
You're like, I'll have a play-by-play in heaven.
Yes.
We'll rewatch that later.
We'll rewind.
And
look at all of that.
We'll do that later. Yeah.
I don't know. But, I think even yesterday, with I took the sheets off of my daughter's bed.
Okay.
And she came home from school and she was like, why is my room a mess? And I was like, I took the sheets off your bed and washed them.
You're welcome.
It's like, so those moments you kind of wish,
yes.
Can we delete that from the life track? And, but, I think just so often we get so caught up so many times in our own expectation. That was one of the things that I struggled with, knowing what I want to do.
Okay.
And sometimes not seeing that fulfilled, or being put on the shelf, or being looked over or passed by, or, somebody else getting a position that was really rightfully yours, or, it's just, so you wrestle with those things when you know what you want to do. And I think just when we have the expectation on ourselves and on our circumstances and on our dreams, and they're not exactly in the right position yet, and we're not at peace and happy.
Yeah.
And the Lord's saying, look, this is the day I've made.
Come on. Yeah.
Rejoice and be glad in this day.
Yeah. Yes.
Because like we said earlier, tomorrow may not even show up.
Yeah.
And you've missed the beautiful moments, with your family, like last night at the dinner table with our kids. We were laughing our heads off at my son. He's a complete jokester,
Yes. Yeah.
And we purposed last night to have dinner together.
Yeah.
Because, sports and
sure,
all the things.
So busy. Yeah.
So busy. And, Marcus texted me early in the day. He said, let's sit down and have dinner together and pray together tonight. And so, we purposed to do that. And we had so much fun and joy in that moment because we made room for that. And very often we get distracted with all the things we want to be, that we don't simply just be
Yes.
with our family.
Yes.
And I think when you're fully surrendered to the Lord and you allow Him to give you the directive for that day,
Yeah.
then it takes you closer to wherever it is you're supposed to be. You know, you don't have to wrestle so much. And just allow Him to lead you, to guide you. Those are such Christian terms, you know.
Yes.
He's going to lead and guide me, but He really does.
Yes, but it doesn't. For me, you're exactly right. He leads and guides me so clearly when I'm at rest and at peace, and I'm in the moment.
Yeah.
I had a counselor once tell me when I was wrestling with this topic, and
Push pause.
Yes.
Because I want the people who are watching to know, because there's so much shame for people to get counseling.
Talk about it.
And I'm telling you, the most successful people in the world have someone to counsel with.
Yes. 100%.
It's so important to have a safe place where you can openly share what you're dealing with and allow someone with wisdom to speak into your life.
Yeah.
So I love that you took that step.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Thank you.
Unpause.
I agree. And I think it's even like, pause. I think it's, hold on. I think it's even like finding, sometimes it is a counselor and sometimes it's a coach, or sometimes it can be so many different things. But when we are striving to get somewhere instead of being present, we can't actually look at our life and say, oh, what needs to be adjusted because we're running so fast forward in the future. Unpause.
So your counselor said,
thank you. I mean, I was like, I don't know where I was.
where were we?
My counselor said, in New Braunfels, where we lived, we've got rivers there that you would float the river.
Beautiful river.
Comal
We love
and
to
Guadalupe.
do that. Oh, yes.
So he said, picture yourself in an inner tube floating down that river. I'm like, well, not on a weekend, but anyway, if you know, you know. But float down the river, and he said, what do? You just lay back. You kind of let your arms dangle in the water.
Let the current take
and
you.
you let the current take you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to steal your
Oh, girl,
punchline.
it's fun. You just steal away. You're like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm
because
feeling
there
it. I'm
with
like,
you. And it's that good cold water.
Yes.
All those springs coming up.
yes, it's refreshing.
Yes.
And it can be, okay. You know, we can make anything about anything.
Yes.
It's a hot day.
You're right.
So circumstances are difficult.
Yeah.
But the water, the living water,
That's right.
is so cool. It's so refreshing.
Yeah.
It's so relaxing.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, leaning back, laying back, He's going to direct us exactly where we need to be. And so I think about today, I'm standing at a new season of being an empty nester. And everything within me, to be honest, wants to have a plan.
Yeah.
I want to know what the plan is to navigate now not having the to-dos of kids in my home.
Right.
And even though as they get older, it's less to-dos and it's more noise. And it's gone and it's quiet. And I'm like, what am I going to do without the noise of my life? Yeah. But I am at that place of just being so grateful for today. So when I find that I'm wrestling, if you find that you're wrestling in a moment of not being able to be present, here's what I want you to do. I want you to turn your heart towards gratitude. Because when I can stop for a moment and be so grateful for what's happening today, right now, in this very second, and sometimes it is simply a deep breath.
Right.
Thank you, God, that I still have air in my lungs. Right. And once you start down the conversation of gratitude, it just explodes. And then you're in the moment.
Yeah.
And then you're living fully alive in that moment.
When my children were really small, before we would pray for our meals.
Yes.
I think the twins were like maybe 3, maybe 4. Marcus would make us, my husband is like the ultimate coach. I mean, he's like Mr. Positivity. I'm like, can you just have a bad day?
It's
please?
true. No.
And join the rest of us.
No.
you know?
Yeah, exactly. Not
he's
Marcus.
He's that guy, right?
He's that guy, yeah.
And so Marcus would say, okay, well, I want everybody to, around the table, there's 5 of us, to give me 10 things you're grateful for or you're happy about.
Okay.
Because it was easier for the kids to understand I'm happy about. So either he or I would get us started with, I'm happy about whatever. And Merrick, our boy twin, it would take him a minute to get started. And he would, he's 3, he'd go, unhappy about, and he would say like one thing, and then we would wait 20 seconds more. Unhappy, and we would like number 2. Okay. And then by the time he was at like 6 or 7, we couldn't shut him up. Like 30, 40. Oh, okay, we're so glad you're happy.
Put a pause in that, Joy.
Right? And you're so right. Once you get the focus off of yourself and your circumstances on what you're grateful for, what you're happy about.
Yes.
It just causes, it takes the air out of that balloon of OMG.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Either the dream is so big, how am I going to get there?
Right.
Or the opposite end of I'll never get there.
Yeah.
It really is the great equalizer.
Yes.
I think that, it's like the heart posture of gratitude and pausing is the great equalizer in your childhood dreams coming into the present in your reality and how you bridge the gap of both of those things.
Yeah.
And so, final thought.
Okay.
If you were to look back over from childhood dreams, here we go.
Like when dinosaurs roamed the earth? that far back?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Go way back.
All right, I'm going back.
Float down the river. And so your current reality now, if you could leave someone with something, if they maybe are either wrestling with, I really just want my dreams to come true, or they're really in a bad season. Like you mentioned, you went through a divorce, and it's like in that moment, did you ever think that your life would be happy again?
I did.
Okay.
I did think it would be happy again. I just didn't know how I was ever going to get there. I've always been an eternal optimist.
Yeah.
So that's just the way I'm wired.
Right.
But I didn't know how in the world I would ever get back there.
Yeah.
It just, my life fell so completely apart.
Yeah.
And I mean, I lost my business, I lost my marriage, I lost my home, I lost everything. I literally lost everything. And I didn't know how God was going to put that back together for me. But what I would say is what I said earlier. I just put my entire trust in the Lord.
Yes.
Because I knew my only hope at that moment was in the Lord. If I didn't hope in Him, I didn't have hope.
There was no way.
Yeah. I mean, it was as bad as you can think. That's how bad it was.
Yes.
So,
well, and I think it's interesting. Your 3-year-old dream was, I'm going to be, I'm going to be that person that's on the stage, not for the position, but for the heart of it.
Well, I remembered what I experienced.
Yes.
And I wanted to be a part of
getting ushering people into that experience. And then in your divorce, seemingly, could have seemed like it was all taken away.
Yeah.
And then you had to rest and have hope that God is good.
Yep.
I think about the scripture, hope deferred makes a heart sick, but a longing and a dream fulfilled is a spring of life.
That's right.
And He is the hope bringer.
Yeah.
Like He will make a way.
He is the living hope.
Yeah, where there is no way.
That's right.
And He will do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think mine would be definitely the being present, but it's the surrender.
Yeah.
So you're the eternal optimist. I'm probably the eternal pessimist.
Okay. Nice to meet you. We'll help each other through.
Yeah, I'll be like, come down, Cindy, too high, too high. I just some of it is the way that my mind is wired, because I'm an organizer, critiquer kind of thing to make things better. So I can see into the cracks and crevices, but it will trip me up sometimes, and I can just fall in the hole and remain. But I think it's the surrender.
Yeah.
I had.
Isn't that crazy? That the actual part of being successful, of putting it together, starts with surrender.
Yes.
It's so scary.
Plot twist.
Yeah, it's so scary.
It is terrifying.
But when you actually do it, it sets you so free.
Yes.
That makes me think of that scripture that says He takes all things and works them for our good.
Yeah.
Even the plans that we make sometimes that fall into shambles.
Yes.
If we allow him to, he'll take them and use them for our good. I think about things that were in my marriage, that I experienced in my marriage, that really prepared me for other seasons in my life.
Absolutely.
You know, so even the dark, difficult places, God can take that and bring light out of it. If we allow him to, and not just stay in our little cloister of, oh, I failed. It all came to pieces. It was all whatever. You know, if we allow him to, he can use those things for our good.
Yeah. And it's like the road of
this beautiful thing.
The road of gratitude will remove the shame.
Yeah.
So that you can actually like learn and heal in the moment.
Right.
And so I think when we're on this topic of fully alive, living so present, taking courageous risks, and living the life that God intended, which was life and life to the full, John 10:10. Right. And I think this is key for us to get down is, first of all, the dreams that you had when you were little, the first memories that you had of doing something that brought you joy, go back to those things and remember. And sometimes you might even have to ask the Lord, would you remind me? Because I don't remember what was in my heart. Yeah. Like we know the word says that the Holy Spirit knows all things. Right. And his word cuts between the flesh, the bone, the marrow. He can come in and remind you of what you do not remember.
That's so good.
And then bringing to the Lord this worldview and asking him, like, for me to be fully alive today in my present, and for me to be able to live with a heart of gratitude and to lay back in the river and let you take me where I'm going to go. Right. I have to take off the old worldview lens sometimes that I've created and exchange it with his lens, like with a kingdom lens. And so I think that's crucial for that exchange to happen, and then delighting in that little kid back there. Delighting in the little boy and the little girl that had the Fisher Price with the microphone recording my own voice.
So awesome. I love that. I wish I could have seen that.
I wish I had a Fisher Price.
Right?
I need
I'm
one.
I'm sure there's one on eBay somewhere.
I'm going to put it right there. eBay. I forgot about eBay.
Yeah, eBay's out there.
Dinosaurs. Just saying.
That's me.
Oh my gosh. Well, this has been awesome.
It has been.
I love this conversation.
Me too.
And I know I am so grateful for this moment.
Me too.
Never in a million years would I be here with you.
Yeah.
Never in a million years.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And
God is so cool.
He's so cool.
Yeah.
And how he wove us together to be here with Thelma and Louise. Yeah. Taylor and
Lorraine. Taylor and Lorraine. That's our Thelma and Louise alias. When we're being crazy, Taylor and Lorraine show up.
Taylor and Lorraine. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is not the end.
No, it's not.
We have more conversations to come.
That's right.
And we really want you to join us. And I want you to share with your friends. You know what would do me the most pleasure is if I found out that people actually watch this with their friends as if we were
cool.
at one big table, and then you discussed, what were your childhood dreams?
Yeah.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
And put that in the comments so we know what their childhood dreams were.
I would love to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's start a bigger conversation than just this one right here.
Right.
Yeah, I love it. So I hope you have an amazing day. I hope your week is fantastic. And I want to remind you that God has made you, created you on purpose, for purpose. You've got big things ahead of you, friend. It's going to be good.
Yes,
I'll see you next time. As we close, remember that your childhood dreams paint a colorful picture of your authentic design. They reflect the unfiltered desire of your heart before your experiences could have shaped your desires. So take time to reflect on the dreams of when you were a child. Examine what you believe and invite God to ignite your imagination once again. Embrace your unique calling with the joy and the wonder of being a child, knowing that you are deeply loved and cherished by the one who set you apart from the very beginning. Dream boldly, live fully, walk confidently in the purpose for which you were created. This is living fully alive. Join us again for another conversation. It's going to be good. Remember to hit the subscribe button, share your thoughts in the comments. What did you want to be when you were a child? I would love to know. See you next time.